What's up, people? Jay here. Gonna start this video off by addressing all of the people who had their undies in a bunch based off of what I had to say about Dolph Ziggler last week. Actually, I have a question for you. Did you watch this week's episode of SmackDown? Because that was kind of an important show, especially based off of what happened in that opening segment, because it turns out I'm not just a hater after all. Every goddamn thing I said in that video that I made about Dolph Ziggler, it's been introduced onto WWE TV as being a part of the official storyline. And you don't even have to take my word for it. Go back and watch the video that I made about Dolph Ziggler last week and compare that to the words from Dean Ambrose himself on SmackDown. Go back and watch my video and compare it to the words of the Super Intercontinental Champion himself, and lie to me and tell me you don't see the similarities between Exhibit A and Exhibit B and the style and substance of the message that was being delivered. And the message that was being delivered is Dolph Ziggler is a goddamn loser. And Dean Ambrose, he talked about how, he repeated a lot of things that I said in that video. He talked about how Dolph Ziggler cared more about showing off and stealing the show than he did in actually winning matches. He talked about how this narrative that's being massaged and crafted for Dolph Ziggler, that he was held down by the authority and that's why his career didn't go anywhere, how it flies in the face of the reality of Dolph Ziggler's on-screen character in the WWE universe. And then he hit him with that one-hitter quitter when he said, what did he say? You think you're better than what you actually are. And I was just sitting back like, goddamn, Dean, nice job. I couldn't have said it better. Well, anyway, Dean, like I said, his promo was very reminiscent of a lot of the things that I was expressing about Dolph Ziggler in that video last week. And I was like, you know what? You're giving a tip to the hat to me on SmackDown. I'll give a little tip of the hat to you on YouTube here. And I'm wearing a Dean Ambrose shirt. Now, this does not mean that everything is resolved and I'm back on the Ambrose train. I'm waiting on that, but it was a nice night for him on SmackDown. But the thing that I'm wondering is, with this tone that Dean Ambrose expressed in that promo and all throughout SmackDown when he was referring to Dolph Ziggler, is this going to stick with his character going forward, or did he just change? He's like the fucking Ditto of WWE. He can be whatever you want him to be. And I don't say that as a compliment. It's just weird because to me there's no consistency with his character. He just jumps from like tone to tone based off of whatever situation he's involved in. And they're such drastically different characters that he's playing. And I'm not saying this to compliment him because he's a lunatic fringe or anything like that. It just comes off very weird to me. And I don't know if this is an intentional thing or WWE just likes him being a little, glob of clay that they can just mix and mold and serve whatever fucking role they want him to in the moment. I don't know. But if this is something that they want to move forward with for Dean Ambrose with that tone that he had in addressing Dolph Ziggler, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. I just need some consistency. I need one set character and move forward with it. And if this is a character that you want to do it with, I'm cool with that because I liked Dean Ambrose on Raw. And it's weird that we're in this on SmackDown. And it's weird that we're in a situation now where, like, WWE, you are some crafty motherfuckers. Because I've had my issues with Dean Ambrose, but you put him with a shitty #1 contender. And you flip the script to the point where Dean Ambrose isn't the story in the story of the Super Intercontinental Championship match going into SummerSlam. Dolph Ziggler is the story. So you have Dean Ambrose being my proxy, saying everything that I want to say and have said about the character of Dolph Ziggler. So you put him into a position where I'm looking at him like, damn, dude, you're right. And I'm not focusing on the issues that I have with his character because he's pointing out the issues that I have with Dolph's character. So you're some crafty bastards. And, for your craftiness, I'll give you props. Yeah, I'll give you that. You pulled one over on me this week. Cool. But more on Dolph Ziggler. I really, really, really wish he would have lost to to Bray Wyatt in the main event of SmackDown, because I thought it would have been so cool and it would have done wonders for his character if he's going out there attempting to prove everyone wrong, and he took this huge risk of putting his match on the line versus Bray Wyatt, and then he lost it. Finding out what would happen to Dolph Ziggler and how he would react to that, like he's done all of this work, so he says, to get to this point that he's at right now, where he's a #1 contender going into a big pay-per-view, and he finally has this match, and he gets too much of a big head where he's trying to, prove to everybody else that, oh, I deserve this and I'm supposed to be here. And then he takes that big risk and then he loses. I thought that would have been a really cool little storyline development for Dolph Ziggler. And I'm not saying that to like throw shade where it's like, oh yes, I just really wanted him to fucking lose and get out of the match. Like, shit, I did, but those could be two separate things. I wanted him out of the match, and then I think it also would have been a cool storyline development to see who Dolph Ziggler would become after that. And that's an easier story to tell and buy into than what WWE is doing currently with how Dolph Ziggler won the match versus Bray Wyatt, and them acting like, okay, all is resolved. He beat Bray Wyatt, guys. He beat Bray Wyatt. Oh, he's the real deal now. If you say so. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Let me pull up these other topics that I wanted to talk about from SmackDown. We got the debut of American Alpha. I fucking love those guys. I was so excited to see them on SmackDown because I'm huge fans. I'm huge fans. I've become multiple people now. I'm a huge fan. That's how big of a fan I am of American Alpha. I fucking cloned myself just so I can say I'm fans of the team. But seriously, yeah, I was a big fan of theirs down in NXT, and to see that explosiveness that they bring to the ring, like, they are so amazing. And you look at those guys and the style that they compete in the ring, nobody else has in WWE. That's fresh, that's new, it's different, and it's uniquely American Alpha. And them bringing that to the main roster, oh my God, I hope the sky is the limit for them. I think it was Dave Otunga, he said on commentary that these guys are the future of the tag division in WWE. I wish the same things for the tag division that I wish for the women's division in WWE, that you increase that parity, not parity, meaning equality between the men and the women. Like, I want the tag division to move up in importance in WWE to the point where we can get some main events featuring tag team matches and not the strung together tag teams that WWE does, like when they do 6-man tag team matches out the friggin' wazoo. Like, I want them to employ the same type of model that they have down in NXT, where they switch in and out the matches. There was one time last year, I forget the exact order. It was like the women's championship main event in 1 week, then the tag team championship main event the next week, then the NXT championship main evented, and then the women's championship. Whatever that order was, I just thought it was cool that we had different championships main eventing, because they put that focus on those specific divisions. And I want so much out of American Alpha. Like, I think that team is so great that you need to expand the ceiling of the tag division to accommodate them, because you need to get everything out of that team that you possibly can. And that's how big of a fan I am of Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. Those guys are awesome, and I can't wait to see what becomes of them on the main roster. So I'm going to be talking about a few more things that I found interesting on this last episode of SmackDown. The first of them being Eva Marie. I have no idea what the hell is going on with Eva Marie. All I know is that it is entertaining and out of this friggin' world. Like, I look at her with all of her exaggerated movements and the red lights and the big voice, deep movie guy announcer voice thing, and I don't know what the hell is going on. All I know is that I'm tickled by it. Like, I sit back like, what the hell is this? But I like it, and that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't have any analysis to deliver beyond that. Yeah, but speaking of Eva Marie, she's in the women's division over on SmackDown, and according to an interview that the general manager of SmackDown, Danny Bryan, did recently, apparently they will be introducing a brand-specific Women's Championship to SmackDown in the near future. And of course, I knew this was going to happen, but now that we know it is coming officially, I find it interesting that they did not introduce this title the first night on this new era of SmackDown. And I'm wondering, like, well, it is by design, but I'm just wondering, like, what do they think they're gaining with introducing the title at a later date? Like, are they waiting for some of the characters to get a chance to establish themselves and they just want to mix things up a little bit and see where everybody ends up in their positions before they introduce a championship into it? Because I do understand that championships make things a whole hell of a lot easier, and maybe you don't want things to be easy. You want to do that hard work when you're attempting to establish all of these new characters in this new division over on this new SmackDown, because you could easily just throw a championship into a feud and say, hey, you and you're fighting over this. And that's pretty easy. You have to be a little bit more crafty and clever when it comes to building feuds without a championship there. And I'm interested to see how they do that work on SmackDown. As far as them doing that work on tonight's episode, I don't know. It was weird. We had 2 women's matches scheduled, but neither one of them went through. We had Eva Marie hamming up an injury when she was supposed to have a match with Becky Lynch. And then you had Carmella being attacked by Natalya before her match. So I don't know, like, what's going on in the women's division now. I understand that they're going through some growing pains, and I guess I have to just sit back and give them a bit of a chance to grow and evolve into what they are going to be. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to be sitting here 6 months down the fucking line like, okay, I'm still waiting. I'm willing to give them a bit of a chance to flesh things out, so I'm going to reserve judgment for the time being, and I'm going to move on now to something that I actually will not reserve judgment on, because I have a whole hell of a lot to say about this. John Cena and AJ Styles, that segment that they had on SmackDown. Let me say this about John Cena. I am a big friggin' fan of John Cena. Huge fucking fan of John Cena. And I don't just say that because now he's been moved out of the main event picture in WWE, and he's outside of the orbit of the world championships, and John Cena is doing so much outside of WWE that there is a threat that he could possibly leave at some point. Or John Cena, he's in a twilight of his career and things are winding down. I don't want to reduce me being a fan of John Cena by saying it's because of anything like that. I look at John Cena and the talent that he possesses as a performer, who he is as a person, and what he brings to the table in WWE. I am so fucking appreciative of it, and I am a fan of John Cena because of who he is. And this isn't something that just started recently. It's actually been building up, and yeah, I'm a huge fucking fan of John Cena. All I'm waiting for now is for him to release a non-ugly shirt on WWE Shop so I can buy it and I can rock it. Because I don't have a problem with rocking a John Cena shirt. It's just that I have a problem with rocking butt-ass ugly t-shirts. So, yeah, that's a line that I'm not willing to cross. And I'm not even asking for some fresh fly gear. At this point, I just want non-ugly, because that would be a huge improvement to what he has going on right now. But I digress. On to this segment. John Cena was, dare I say, phenomenal. His delivery, the passion that he brought, and how he talked about how he loved WWE, the opportunities that it provided to him to give back and meet people and what they give to him in return. And it was just so wonderful. Such a great promo from John Cena. And AJ Styles, he played an effective supporting player in this thing. But here's what I will say. This promo did absolutely nothing whatsoever for AJ Styles. He was pretty much, like I said, a supporting player here. And I look at this, and earlier I gave WWE props for being crafty. They were shady as hell in this one, because I could see right through exactly what they were doing, and what they were doing was using the feud between AJ Styles and John Cena for John Cena to deliver a message that had nothing to do with AJ Styles at all. They needed to find some kind of way for John Cena to address the big elephant in the room because, hell, every time you look up, you see John Cena everywhere. He's like Pidgey in Pokemon Go. Every fucking where you look, Cena. He's hosting the ESPYs, hosting the Teen Choice Awards. He's hosting a reality show on Fox. He has all of these different cameos and movie roles. And then on late night TV shows and co-hosting live with Kelly, and just he's all over the place. And there are a lot of people, me being one of them, questioning what's happening with John Cena. Could he be on his way out of WWE? Damn, I'm seeing this dude John Cena all over the place. What's going on? Is he preparing for a career in Hollywood outside of WWE? So he had to address the elephant in the room, and they used AJ Styles to be the person that introduced it onto WWE TV. And the way in which they did it, it wasn't smooth at all. Like, you could see right through it, because for AJ Styles to come out to the ring and ask John Cena, he says, "I beat you. Why are you still here?" And to not follow up on exactly what you said, it didn't make any sense at all. And what I mean by that is AJ Styles comes out there and he says, "Why are you still here?" John Cena lets him know exactly why the fuck he's still in WWE, and AJ doesn't really respond and connect it back to the reason why he asked the question in the first fucking place. Like, he stood there and he made it seem as if he was annoyed by John Cena's presence in WWE. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Oh, you're going to beat him in the match, and then after the match, you want him to say that you're better than him. Well, shit, if you do beat him, if he does say that, guess what? He'll still be in WWE. So what the fuck did you really accomplish there? The only way that could have ended with them forcing AJ Styles into a position where he asks John Cena the question, "Why are you still here?" The only logical way that could have ended was AJ proposing a loser leaves WWE match. And that could not happen because that's fucking stupid. Like, they put him into a situation where the only logical outcome of AJ Styles introducing that tidbit onto WWE TV was a stupid outcome. And if he didn't do that, it didn't make any fucking sense. I hope that made sense. Like, I hope you guys get what I'm saying. Like, what could AJ possibly have done to connect back to him saying, "Why are you still here? I'm annoyed by your presence in WWE." They didn't really address that. Like, all they did was use AJ to address the elephant in the room for John Cena. And really, AJ, he was put in kind of a shitty position, because how could you respond to that? You ask John Cena why he's still here, and he says, "I love the fans. I love WWE. I have a passion for this. It's my life." How the fuck do you respond to that? And he wasn't really meant to respond. He was just there so John Cena could do what he did. And shit, if that's the case, hell, you could have replaced AJ with Renee Young. And based off of the hairstyles, you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. So, there you go. That's all I have to say about that one. What do we have next? So Brock Lesnar, he made an appearance. Brock Lesnar, he's a Raw superstar. He made an appearance on SmackDown to deliver a receipt to Randy Orton. And this was a cool segment. I mean, the element of surprise was gone because Randy Orton pretty much used that up on Raw. He came out for the shock, and you just had to know at some point that Brock Lesnar was going to get him back some way, somehow. And it turned out that place and time was on tonight's episode of SmackDown. But a cool segment nonetheless. That happened, and they're building towards their match at SummerSlam. What I was more interested in, and what a lot of people were interested in, was those goddamn security guards. We even had Daniel Bryan on the after show on, I guess it's called Talk Smack on WWE Network. He was talking about how they had to look into their hiring principles and, look into doing a better job of hiring security guards. And I say, shit, you're doing a fine job of hiring security guards, because they were smart enough to get out of the fucking way when Brock Lesnar is heading to the ring. Like, that shows a sign of intelligence. Only a fool will go up against Brock Lesnar. And I'm no damn fool. I know if you told me, okay, we got to head out to the ring and, protect this ring from Brock Lesnar, I'm taking an impromptu lunch break. Because I don't play that shit. You know what? I got this sandwich in the fridge back here that it's calling my name. I'll see you guys later. If, I see you later. It's all up to Brock. I don't know. But, yeah, catch you guys later. Peace. Maybe I'll see you as they're rolling you to the fucking ambulance. I don't know. It's you know what? They need a clause in the security guard's contracts that state that if, we pay you to do a job, you protect the ring, you protect the building, but if Brock Lesnar appears, you have our permission to head for the fucking hills. That could only be right? That sounds fair. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to say about tonight's episode of SmackDown. Better episode than last week, I'd say. And yeah, just as I said for the women's division earlier, I'll say for SmackDown as a whole, I got to give them that time to work out their growing pains and grow into what it is that they are or will be, because that's very important. You have to take risks and find out what works and what doesn't. And sometimes we'll run into situations where something simply does not work. And those risks definitely are worth taking, because you'll never know what you're capable of if you don't step out on faith a little bit. So, yeah, still a little bit of growing pains, and they're going into what they are, but, an enjoyable episode and some development with Dolph Ziggler, Ambrose, and other places on the card. So we'll see what is made of that for next time. And until then, peace.